We're here. It's time for a reading with MissTaylorSaid. Hello, hello. I'm running late, but I had to get food. I'm running late, but I had to go get food. So, I have food now. And I ate a little bit of it because I realized I didn't really eat much today. So, I ate a little bit of it. I'm mostly doing this talking part, not because anyone's in here, but when I go to post the playback, I need there to be a little something something for the person that's watching the replay, you know? I made myself some coffee to wake me up. It's been a busy week. It's been a very busy week. Hello, hello. Let me share it. Hey, Sarante. Welcome in. Sorry I'm running late. I had to go get food. Welcome in. I'm gonna run over to Facebook real fast and see live video. Hi, I'm still in here. Instagram. I bet you the sound is gonna go out on Instagram. Now that I did that. If anybody watches on Instagram, please let me know if the sound is there. I don't know if the sound is going to be there or not. I hope it is. Should be fine. Hey, is the sound here? Can you hear me on Instagram? Let me know if you can hear me on Instagram, because I had some issues with Instagram. Awesome. Great. Because I had some issues with Instagram Live the other night where I went out of the app to do something and then I came back in and then the sound wasn't working. So I'm glad it's working. Wonderful. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I'm running late. Welcome to Reading with MissTaylorSaid. My name is Taylor, also known as MissTaylorSaid, and I started the show back in 2020 in an effort to do a few things. One of those things is reading all the books that I actually own, because I have a lot of books. I'd like to read them. Second thing is that I want to get into public speaking, and when I get into public speaking, I'm going to have to read speeches, plays, you know, teleprompters, things like that. And so I want to have some practice reading in front of an audience. Welcome in. Welcome to Reading with MissTaylorSaid. And the third reason why I started this show is because I want to, well, it kind of goes with the other one. Rude? The third reason why I started this show without the car horns, is so that I can engage more with an audience. I love public speaking, and I don't really have that all together anymore. So we're here, we're doing it, we're reading the book. Right now we are reading Mother Hunger by Kelly McDaniel. Welcome to Reading with Miss Taylor Said. And as Sarante has said, we are on episode 88 of Reading with Miss Taylor Said. We're going to get to 100 episodes. I promise you that. All right. We are reading Mother Hunger by Kelly McDaniel. If you missed last week's episode, wherever you're watching, you can go watch the previous, you can see the previous episode on Instagram, and you can also see it on Facebook. We finished chapter 2. In chapter 2, we talked about attachment theory and mother hunger and how those two relate to each other. The next chapter is about nurturance. Now, something to remember is that we defined the things that children need in where did we? Okay, so the 3 essential elements of mothering include nurturance, protection, and guidance. So now that we've talked about attachment theory in relation to mother hunger, now we're going to move on to nurturance, which is the first essential of mothering. All right, so chapter 3, nurturance. Nurturance is the first essential element that babies need from a primary caregiver in order to build a secure foundation for life. Nurturance is the nonverbal language that tells a newborn, I love you and I'm here. Merriam-Webster defines nurture as caring for and encouraging the growth or development of someone or something. It comes from the Latin word nurture, which means to suckle and to nourish. I like to think of nurturing as nursing. Nursing means tending to the needs of someone who is dependent. Perhaps this explains why we generally associate nurturance with women, because we can breastfeed our infants. However, men can nurture babies too. Both men and women have oxytocin receptors that facilitate bonding behavior. To understand how mother hunger begins, let's look deeper into what nurturance means. Nurturance is the quality of responsive care between an infant and her primary adult. Nurturance is touching, holding, feeding, soothing, grooming, and responding. Nurturance is the language of love. The infant brain learns by what it feels. Nurturance is critical in the first 1,000 days when the baby's brain is experiencing the most rapid growth. Nurturance is the foundation for secure attachment and brain health. Nurturance is basic to all mammals. From the moment of birth, mothers in all shapes and sizes cuddle, lick, nudge, and nurse their young. At birth, a baby knows her mother's voice and prefers it to all others. While she recognizes other familiar sounds and voices, amniotic fluid has muffled them for 9 months. They are the background for the clear connection with her mother's voice. In the first 1,000 days of life, early nurturance from their mother sets up how a newborn's emotional, mental, and physical development will unfold. The type and process of birthing, close contact with the mother's skin, breastfeeding, and emotional nurturance, protection, and stimulation provided by the family continue these gestational processes beyond birth. Okay? So the next section is called Nurturing Magic. The tender moments and months after birth are so critical that infant experts refer to this as the 4th trimester. In the 4th trimester, the 3 months immediately following childbirth, baby and mom need life to slow down. This tender time should be considered part of pregnancy because the infant brain is growing at an astounding rate, and the fertilizer is maternal nurturance. For both the mother and the child during first 90 days of infant life outside of the womb, eye contact, skin to skin, touch, and smelling each other intensifies the production of bonding hormones, shaping both of their brains. Touch is so important during this time that Yale pediatrician Matthew Grossman, MD, changed the standard of care he used for babies born dependent on opioids. Instead of treating these babies with morphine and leaving them alone, which is the traditional standard of care and can take weeks, he kept them near the mother, allowing skin-to-skin contact to soothe the withdrawal process. Babies in his care left the hospital sooner than those receiving pharmacological, excuse me, I wanted to say pharmaceutical, but that's not, pharmacologic treatment, excuse me. In the months after birth, baby and mom are falling in love. Skin-to-skin contact boosts oxytocin, sometimes known as the love hormone. This is nature's design for human survival. For some, the bond can be instant. For others, it builds gently and gradually over time. Separation between mom and baby is risky during the 4th trimester or infatuation phase. For the baby, early loss of maternal proximity is encoded as a deep threat. It makes me think about the maternity leave that we have in the United States. How a lot of times it's only 6 weeks, and it's like you need more time than that. You need 3 months. 3 months. You need 3 months so that you can really bond, because again, as the literature has stated, when a baby is separated from their mother, they view that as a threat. Their body remembers it as a threat. Whew. For the baby, early loss of maternal proximity is encoded as a deep threat. Separation from the mother is the primary cause of newborn stress and may show itself in increased heart rate and blood pressure and decreased oxygen saturation in the blood. So it literally impacts the health of a new baby. This makes me want to cry a little bit. It literally impacts, capitalism is so sick. Oh, capitalism is sick. Capitalism is a sickness, because when babies are separated, it impacts their health. It says it increases their heart rate, increases their blood pressure, and decreases the oxygen saturation in their blood. So their blood is getting less oxygen because it's stressed out because it can't be with his mother. That's crazy. Parents carrying their little ones in slings aren't simply making a fashion statement. They're oxytocin generating factories. The more touch and proximity between the two, the more oxytocin. Research shows that infants who are touched regularly have bigger, better brains than those who aren't. Oxytocin creates a biological reaction in the mother that can help decrease anxiety and diminishes the need to get busy. Oxytocin helps her want to interact with her infant and meet her needs. Nature designs bonding to feel good and slow us down. Oxytocin floods us during moments like breastfeeding, childbirth, holding, and orgasm. These are moments that are enhanced by stillness, moments designed for bonding. Oxytocin helps couples linger after a sexual encounter. Oxytocin makes mothers want to hold their babies. Oxytocin lets someone else clean the kitchen. Unfortunately, many people aren't aware of this magnificent hormone or how to maximize it. New mothers who frequently put babies in cribs or bouncers instead of holding them may miss out on nature's magic bonding formula. Well-meaning staff or family who separate mother and baby so she can rest are disrupting this critical bonding hormone. Policies that allow, like I was just saying, policies that only allow 6 weeks away from work for a mother are disastrous for the bonding process. Mom and baby need to stay close to each other in a cocoon of neural hormones for as long as possible. Much like the first rush of romantic love, newborn infatuation serves a larger purpose: to securely bond these two and set the stage for optimal attachment for the first 3 years. I feel very emotional right now reading that, because I think about how many American mothers, how many babies, how many of us How many of us, like, started life with how do I want to put this? Started life with a deficit in our health because our mom had to go back to work. How many babies are starting off at a deficit because their mom had to go back to work? Like, I'm not even going to get into neglectful people who neglect their babies and stuff like. I don't even want to get into that. Just off of, we got to get back to work and I have to make this money because we need to survive. How many babies are starting off at a deficit? Ugh, that makes me sad. The primary caregiver needs a lot of support in the early months and years. In other words, mothers need mothering. Lack of understanding about how much support the primary caregiver needs. Lack of understanding about how much support the primary caregiver needs puts both mother and child at risk. Traditionally, women would have been supported by other women from their communities. However, in the modern world, we tend to live spread out and separated, and this kind of support is rare now. A postpartum doula is one way to buffer this overwhelming period. When a mother has someone devoted to feeding her, caring for other family members, and doing the household chores, she can focus on the bonding. In addition to oxytocin, after childbirth, a new mother's pituitary gland releases prolactin. Prolactin is the milk production hormone. For each time the baby nurses, nipple stimulation releases prolactin, bringing on intense emotions of love, devotion, and relaxation. Infant suckling also stimulates hormones that give the mother a sense of contentment. In the baby, these same hormones aid digestion. Babies know how much suckling they need. Sometimes it's about hunger, and other times it's for comfort. For this reason, I like the term nursing better than breastfeeding. Nursing is nurturing. Nursing includes cuddling, eye contact, rocking, singing, and bottle feeding. Anything that keeps oxytocin flowing and allows bonding and attachment to progress. The science of nursing or breastfeeding is amazing, but make no mistake, it can be hard. Some of the challenges of breastfeeding, plugged milk ducts, lack of support, or difficulty latching on, make it difficult to persevere. Mothers who are able to nurse need time, patience, and support to learn how to tune in to baby-led cues. Feeling pressure to complete other duties or return to work threatens the critical bonding process that mother and baby need. I just want to see. Okay, this chapter is not very long at all. If you are just now joining us, we are reading Mother Hunger by Kelly McDaniel. I'm also doing this because I need a thumbnail. So we are reading Mother Hunger by Kelly McDaniel. And I'm taking a moment because something about this is bringing up a lot of feels, and I don't know. I think I feel there's a lot of grief that comes with knowing that capitalism and being an American really means that you can't care for your children unless you have money hoarded. Like, unless you have a lot of money, it's like you can't really care for your children the way that other mothers in other cultures may be able to. You know, community is not something that is really supported or encouraged here. Like, they say it, but they don't really mean it. Yeah, the feels are definitely happening because it's like, I'm just like, it just makes me feel so sad. Like, our world is so centered around productivity and work and money, and it's not even money for people that are doing the majority of the hard work. It's money for those who are sitting in an office. You know, they get a whole lot of money, and they get to care for their children and have additional staff in their house and all of that stuff. And I'm not saying that those people didn't work hard, because there are plenty of people that worked hard to get where they were. But there are a lot of them that got there because their mama or their daddy already, whatever. We don't have to get into that. But it's like, it's making me think about my sister just had a baby and how she had to get to work really fast. And she bonds with him, and they're very close and everything. And every time I talk to her, she's right there with him and on her, you know, and everything like that. But I also know that there are just moments where it's like she has to go to work and she has to leave him with somebody, and it just makes me sad. Sorate said the power of networking right there. It doesn't take much, just a few connections. Yeah, it's just, networking is cool. Like, networking is great in a professional sense. And maybe, I hope I'm not misinterpreting you. Networking is cool in a professional sense, but community is the village. Community is the village. Community is your next door neighbor brings you food. And because they know that you just had a baby, and so we got dinner for you tonight. Community is, you know, your mom or somebody's mom coming over to help you with the laundry so that you can be with the baby, so you can sleep so you and the baby can take a nap. Community is making sure that your needs are met, making sure that everyone's needs are met without any one person having to carry the bulk of the load. That's what community is. And nothing about our society, nothing about American society encourages community. Like, even thinking about the concept of the suburbs, like, that wasn't a thing until, I don't remember what the years were. I want to say the 50s is when the suburbs started being a thing, because everyone was together. All the people were together. And then it's just like, do you want to be a special bitch? Do you want to be exclusive? Do you want to get away from all those pores? Join the middle class and move out to the suburbs. You won't have to see, you know, especially with redlining, you won't have to see people that have melanin in their skin. You won't have to be around poor people. You won't have to be around those types of people. And then you create the suburbs, and a bunch of people move outside of the city, move away from where their needs are going to be met, because your needs are met in the community where the doctor is, where the grocery store is, where the mailman, where the post office is, all of those things being right there in close proximity. But you throw a suburb out there, now you don't have to get to know anybody, because you got your own house, you got your own car, and you can meet your own needs. You don't need anybody. You don't need to get eggs from your neighbor that has chickens or anything like that. You don't need that. It's just, and I'm skipping bits of history and housing and all that stuff. I'm skipping bits because, you know, industrialization is, I mean, it's created a lot of cool inventions for us and a lot of cool ways for us to connect like this. I don't know. Excuse me. I guess the wind is blowing really hard right now. I mourn the village. And I wish for us to be able to have villages again, where everyone in the community knows each other, where neighbors know each other and take care of each other and look out for each other. Yes, the pores. Yes. The pores. Okay. I hope, listen, I don't know. The way I'm feeling right now, this might make me cry today. Because nurturance, like, also, as someone who experiences mother hunger, the nurturance aspect was deeply lacking. And so reading about what is required, and also thinking about like the issues that I like, health issues that, you know, like brain things like ADHD, neurodiversities, and all those kinds of things. I'm not saying, like, I know some aspects of it is like you're born with it, but then some aspects of it is just like, you know, maybe if the proper bonding and the proper care was taken in early development, maybe the brain would have grew out the right way and did the right thing, you know? So, update for any of y'all that care. I started therapy this week. So, I'm going to cry about it with her whenever I see her again. Anyway, let's get back into the book, because I'm probably going to cry. And if you are, actually there's no one joining us now that hasn't already been here. I'm glad you're here. We're going to continue. The next section is called Learning from Animals, because that's what we are. Infant care should be instinctive, but unfortunately, generations of women without adequate nurturance struggle to access nature's design. Modern parenting experts don't help. Many are misguiding parents, suggesting strategies that put babies and children at risk for unnecessary adversity, specifically too much maternal separation. To counter poor guidance, we can learn much about infant care from studying animals. Researchers and scientists study mice, rats, prairie voles, sheep, monkeys, and other mammals that have brain structures similar to ours to better understand our primal needs for maternal belonging and protection. Like other mammals, human babies use sound, smell, and touch to identify their mother and prefer her to anyone else. Maternal mammals stay close to their young, clean them, and protect them from harm. Baby animals are not left alone to cry it out unless something terrible has happened to the mother. Thank you. Thank you. Michael J. Meany's, his name is literally Meany. That's funny. Michael J. Meany's research with mother rats and their pups shows that offspring are heavily influenced by maternal care. When mother rats frequently lick and groom their pups, genes turn on that protect the little animals from future stress. This early maternal protection lasts into adulthood. When babies are deprived of such care, however, the same genes remain dormant. Thus, early maternal care permanently alters brain regions. What did I just say? About brain development. Sorry. Thus, early maternal care permanently alters brain regions that regulate stress reactivity. Meany's research mirrors findings from the World Health Organization's review of the importance of early caregivers to infant and child growth and development. Meany's research has huge implications for understanding how disturbances in bonding can trickle intergenerationally between mothers and their daughters. He found that early maternal separation hampered the female pup's future ability to nurture their own offspring. Okay. Babies of mothers who licked more and nursed more not only showed significantly more capacity to manage stress, but they also nurtured their own babies in the same way. Meany's conclusions explain why women who feel secure in their mother's love are more likely to have secure infant relationships. Meany's conclusions explain why women who feel secure in their mother's love are more likely to have secure infants themselves, as well as enjoy stable friendships and romantic relationships throughout life. Oh yeah, it's hitting hard right now. It's hitting hard right now. All of it's like the Tetris blocks are lining up perfectly, and it's the puzzle pieces are falling in place. And thinking about, and I think also because, and I'm not going to get too much into it, but I have been doing some spiritual work concerning my maternal bloodline in the last week or so. I'm always doing the spiritual work, but I did some that was really hard hitting and really heavy. And I actually today did something that was really, really heavy. And I haven't really had time to process or recover from it. So I am it's kind of going through my mind right now. It's kind of overwhelming to know that, and to think about the experiences that I had in early development with my own mother, experiences that my mother had in early development with her mother, and then just knowing that like my partner and I were talking about this recently, about the life expectancy of people based on the demographic they come from, right? So you have somebody like African American males have the lowest life expectancy. Next to them is Black women, African American women. Then it's I don't know where the Latinx population falls in there, but then it's like white men and then white women, and white women have the highest like life expectancy. They live longer than everybody else here in the States, outside of like Asian folks. And I can just like reading this, I'm like, of course they do. Of course they do. They got to not only stay in the home and be with their babies, they not only got to stay in the home and be with their babies, they also like had, for a long time, they had slaves in their house helping them take care of the babies. They also had, after slavery was abolished, they had maids in the house, servants and maids in the house helping them with care. So if they weren't with their baby, like somebody was with their baby. That baby was bonding. That baby was loved on, you know? And then even later on, like, so we get out of the stage where they have help in the house. If they have money, they have nannies. If they don't have money, they probably have their mom. Their mom is probably with them. And their mothers are not older women that have to work like our mothers do. Like, they get to be at the house with their kids because of wage gaps. And it's like, yeah, white women are dealing with the whole, like, not getting paid as much and everything like that. But at the same time, it's like a lot of them, a good chunk, especially the middle class ones, are getting to live at home and be with their kids during that critical time. They get the support of their families and their mothers in that critical time. And I'm making a generalization, but they live longer. Just processing, you know, I just thinking about all of the time, the rest, the care. How many Black kids grew up without the things they needed because their parents had to go to work? how many generations of black kids did not receive the nurturing they needed because their parents had to work, and then because of racism, their parents thought that they were doing them a favor by being rough on them. Also, their parents think they're doing them a favor by being rough on them, / they were so traumatized from their own childhood because the generation before us being born, or the generation before them, were even harder because they were experiencing a more difficult world with even less resources. It's just this, I'm so grateful. And I know people get their panties in a fucking bunch because of the fact that people are gentle parenting their kids, but the science shows us that you have a healthier kid if you love on them. The science shows us that your kid's brain develops better if you love on them, and if you're with them, and if you're giving them the care and the nurturance that they need. And there's nothing shameful about loving your child. And I feel like so many black parents, especially ones that are in the religion of Christianity, like, they're ashamed of loving their child with gentle, soft, loving care. Because it's just like, oh, you're going to raise them soft. They're not going to be able to survive out in this world if you're soft on them. Meanwhile, you have a whole group of us that need, like, everybody is not an affectionate person. Everybody is not a soft, ooey gooey, mushy, I'm a cry in a second person. But some of us are. And some of us needed the hugs, the extra hugs. When people say, oh, she just want attention. Yeah. Some of us need that extra attention. Some of us need that. And maybe if our mamas didn't have to go to work as soon as we were born, maybe they would have, because I'm wondering how much of that, like, need and urge, I mean, because you always need mothering, but like how much of that is connected to, I didn't get it early on because my mama had to go back to work. And then as I got older, I'm like, oh, there's something that I need. And they call it, you looking for attention. When in reality, it's like, I need all those hugs and cuddles I didn't get in that first early stage because you had to go back to work. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm just processing my own shit right now. But I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put it like that. Oh, man, when my father gave me hugs at my lowest points in life, because the hug, like a real heartfelt hug from your parent, it is actually healing. It is actually healing. Welcome in. We're reading, welcome to Reading with Miss Taylor Said. We are reading Mother Hunger by Kelly McDaniel. Like, that's why, I mean, honestly, because I'm studying massage therapy right now, right? And there are people that are going to be coming to me to receive body work because in their regular day-to-day life and probably in their early childhood and all that, they are touch deprived. There's no one giving them hugs. There's no one giving them cuddles and kisses and things that they need. Humans need that. The hormones that are produced from us experiencing physical touch from someone that loves and cares about us is necessary for our health. It literally improves our health. And people, and especially since the pandemic, we become more and more separate when we need this type of love from each other. And that's why the community is so important, man. Okay, let's see. Sorante said it literally washes away the pain and it's comforting. I didn't get it a lot from my mother, but my pops, he had no issues with it. And I love that for you. I'm so glad that you got to experience that. I am so glad that you got to experience that. I'm grateful because I got a lot of hugs and stuff from my grandmother, but she passed when I was 8. And my stepfather, I remember my stepdad saying that he was not an affectionate person. He was not a hugging, lovey-dovey type of person. But because of me being like, hugs, hugs, wanting hugs all the time, wanting physical touch all the time, he became that, you know, because it was something that I needed and I craved it and I asked for it a lot. And my, you know, my parents, they're not the most huggy, lovey-dovey type of people. And a lot of that has to do with their own trauma, you know? I have a comment on Instagram. Key said the touch-deprived clients are the most appreciative of massage therapy. They are. They are. I know, especially when I'm in my own practice, you know, when I'm in my own practice, and I may not be able to go that deep into it whenever I'm working in a spa, but when I'm in my own practice and I can implement energy work into the body work that I'm doing, I know that there are going to be people that it brings up a lot of feelings and a lot, and it closes gaps for them that they didn't, that in their, how do I make this make sense? So if they're touch deprived and they don't get that nurturing, loving touch and care in their life, and they come to see me, and I am, even though it may not be specific to them, just because of the fact that I lead with love, the loving, caring touch, energy that I will provide for them is going to close a gap, I believe. And even if it's just for that hour, you know, or that 90 minutes. So I'm grateful that I'm going to be going into this work. Let's see. Sarante says, when I got a massage while I was on vacation in Florida, I loved it so much. I shook that woman's hand, so it's definitely true. It is like, there have been multiple times where I have received a massage. I've received some sort of body work. It may not necessarily been like on the table massage, but you know, Thai yoga massage. There's different types of body work where I've received body work, and an area where I had been harmed, you know, by somebody. When the work started going there, it brought up trauma and it brought up feelings. And I know it's not the same as the touch deprivation, but it speaks to the fact that loving touch is so important that our body does not forget. So if somebody, like, I have a classmate that experienced trauma concerning his neck. And so getting work done on his neck brings up a lot of feels because he experienced trauma towards his neck. But imagine if the loving touch, if loving touch had been there, if loving, nurturing touch had been there this whole time and not trauma, then getting a massage there is just going to relax those muscles. It's just going to add extra relaxation to those muscles. It's not going to bring up the feelings. It's not going to remind you that you were hurt before. Because sometimes, like, that feeling of getting the loving touch when you've been hurt, it's devastating, not just because you know, of the energy work, but of the energy of it, but also because your body is like, oh my God, I can be loved on. I can be touched with care. I didn't know that. And so then there's a grief. It's almost like your body grieves the fact that somebody, like, your body relives that injury, but it also grieves the fact that it's like, I should have been loved on and I wasn't. Okay, I'm going to get back into the book. I don't even remember where I left off. Just, I'm going to finish this section and then I'm going to close. I'm going to close out just because I'm ready to go eat. And I kind of need to cry. So there's that. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Research on what occurs when young children are placed in institutions institutions also provides powerful evidence of the importance of supportive and stable caregiver-child relationships for the health of young children and their cognitive and social development. Young children, in group care often fail to thrive. Young children in group care often fail to thrive. They tend to be sickly, they are demanding of attention, and they find it difficult to have normal peer relationships with other children. Studies have shown that nurturing touch may be as necessary as food for infant survival. Many of you are likely familiar with Harry Harlow's famous work with rhesus monkeys. I am not. Harlow removed baby monkeys from their mothers and divided them into two groups. One group received a wire stand-in mother with a milk bottle. The other group received a soft cloth-covered stand-in mother with a milk bottle. The infants spent more time with the soft mother, whether feeding or not. Harlow tried removing the milk bottle from the cloth mother to see if the babies would prefer the wire mother, who still offered them milk. But after feeding, the babies returned to the soft surrogate mother. Harlow's study also revealed that infants relied on the soft cloth mothers for comfort. If she was there, the baby monkeys were curious and content. When she was removed, however, the little monkeys were paralyzed, huddled in a ball, sucking their thumbs. Welcome to Reading What Miss Taylor Said. Yes. I am reading Mother Hunger by Kelly McDaniel. Master Key said that makes sense. Touch is third on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yes. Babies need touch. Okay, I'll read one more section since we got a couple of new people in here. I'll read one more section and then I'm gonna head on out. The next section is called Epigenetic Influences. Dr. Rachel Yehuda, Director of Traumatic Stress Studies at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York, found that children of Holocaust survivors share post-traumatic stress symptomology with their parents and grandparents. I'm sorry, because most of the people that are in here right now are descendants of American slavery. And duh. Okay, face rose a little bit, but we're back. Sorry to say duh like that. It's just like, we know. Sorry. Found that children of Holocaust survivors share post-traumatic stress symptomology with their parents and grandparents. Yehuda also discovered that babies born to mothers who develop PTSD after the World Trade Center attacks shared symptoms of toxic distress, such as being easily disturbed by loud noises and unfamiliar people. As most epigenetic transmission is matrilineal, this research helps us understand how a mother's emotions can find their way to her children. According to Bruce Lipton, Stanford Medical School researcher and scholar, the mother's emotions such as fear, anger, love, and hope, amongst others, can biochemically alter the genetic expression of the offspring. Lipton and Yehuda's research has vast implications for understanding mother hunger. Even if your mother very much wanted to be able to nurture, to protect, and guide you, her unhealed anxieties or dashed hopes may have left an imprint on your soul. You could be carrying sadness or anger that began with your mother or your grandmother with your mother or your grandmother. When your grandmother was 5 months pregnant with your mother, the precursor cell of the egg you developed from was already present in your mother's ovaries. This means before your mother was even born, your mother, your grandmother, and the earliest traces of you were all in the same body. So your grandma's trauma is your trauma. Your mama's trauma is your trauma. It's in you. The fears, Epigenetics refers to a modification of gene expression rather than a change in the actual genetic code. Culture, diet, and lifestyle can alter gene expression. Gene alterations pass from mother to daughter to granddaughter and adapt to the environment. Since your biological mother was your first environment, if she was stressed, ambivalent, overwhelmed, or carrying her own unhealed trauma, you may have inherited feelings of anxiety and dread before life experience taught you to feel that way. That feels like a sucky space to end. However, we are going to finish the rest of this chapter next week. Yeah, we're going to finish the rest of this chapter next week. Next Thursday, the 11th at 4 p.m. Now, I'm going to let y'all know this. I did a job interview today. And with that job interview, I'm probably going to get a job. Likely getting the job. And it's going to go well. I think so. However, that may alter the schedule of reading what Miss Taylor said. So, if I do get that job and I get my schedule, then I will be able to let y'all know what the time changes will be. I am not sure of that yet. So as of right now, we're still Thursdays at 4 p.m. If that changes, as soon as that changes, I will let y'all know. Thank you for coming and watching Reading what Miss Taylor Said today. I think it will go well. I feel really good about the interview. Thank you for watching Reading what Miss Taylor Said today. I appreciate every single one of y'all for being here. I will be live on Instagram and TikTok tomorrow. Miss Taylor Said on both of those. I will be live on Instagram and TikTok tomorrow at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Tomorrow is Friday, April the 5th. And I will be up here, not on Facebook, but up here on Instagram at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. to do some readings. I'm going to be pulling cards and doing some divination stuff for the collective. I'll also do personal readings on that live. So if you would like to get a personal reading on that live, there will be a price listed up there. And if you want a private reading, then you can email me at MissTaylorSaid@gmail.com. If you would like to donate, my Cash App is $ Miss Taylor Said, and you can find all that information on my Instagram and my Facebook. And yay! Sorante said he's gonna be in there with the roses. Oh my gosh. There were so many roses I got that day. So I really appreciate that. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope that y'all have a great night, and I'll see y'all next Thursday.